Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, for another advanced video on tricks and tips on JavaScript, specifically on JavaScript objects. Today we're going to talk about 5 things that new JavaScript developers don't master. First, declaration of objects and the fact that commas are optional. Before we begin, this is our basic settings. We have an HTML page, test4.html, which includes a script for the JS file. Now you can see the script file has let me erase line number 3. The script file has a declaration of an object. Now this is the basic declaration of an object. Let's try to print out the name property of the user object. It goes like this. Now if I refresh my browser, you can see it's going to print Jackson. Okay, commas are optional in this thing, so I can add the comma in front of the H, as you can see. Now it works without any problem. Alright, the second thing we're going to talk about is still concerning objects, the fact that you can use, it is not advisable, but you can use multi-word keys. For example, I may add a third property to check if the user likes birds. In that case, we have to put the key in quotes. Let me make this a boolean, probably true. So if you have another property that is more than one word, you use it in quotes. But the way it's printed out doesn't work. So if I want to print this particular key pair value, that we are going now to our third point of object declaration and tricks about objects. In order to access this property, we need to use square brackets like this. So if I refresh my browser, you're gonna see it prints true. So this is how you use multi-word keys and how to access them using square brackets. Now it is not recommended to use this method, but it's just for you to know that it can work. And you can also use the square bracket on the one word keys. It works also, like name. Let me refresh the browser so you can see Jackson. So we are good to go. The fourth thing we're going to talk about is still on square brackets, the fact that the values inside square brackets are computed. What do I mean computed? Let's check an example. Imagine I want to, let me declare another object. Fruit equal to apple. Let's look at this definition. Now we have a variable called fruit that has some apple inside. Now I have an object tree that has the square brackets, and you know what is in the square bracket? The square brackets contain our fruit variable. So inside the square is going to be apple, which means our object's key, it's apple, and the value is apple tree. So on line 11, if I alert tree of apple, you see it's gonna alert. Let me refresh the browser. It's gonna write apple tree. What happens? It's on line 8, as you can see. This value in square brackets was computed. So that is the advantage of using square brackets. So what I mean computed, we put a variable inside, and the JavaScript engine, search for the value that is inside the variable. So the fifth thing we're going to talk about is the use of JavaScript reserved keywords inside the definition of objects. This is not a recommended method of coding, but in JavaScript this thing exists, so I'm talking about it so that you know. If you look at our example, we have an object called a user, and user has two keys, the for and let, with values 1 and 3. For and let are JavaScript reserved keywords, so you can't use it as a variable name, but exceptionally for this case, inside the definition of objects you can use it as keys. And from our example, if we print the user of the for, you're going to see it's going to return 1. Now it works on JavaScript, but this is not recommended. We can also use the dot notation to print, which is a normal way to print object properties and values. You see, it still gives 1. So thank you for viewing, and you can stay subscribed to my channel because I'm going to talk about more JavaScript tips and hacks, and I hope this has been very informative. See you on the next video.